So now what we're going to do is I'm going to demonstrate a straight-legged deadlift. I'm going to do a bad version and a good version. So my feet are closer than hip width. So a lot of people do that very well. Sometimes you see people with their feet too wide on a straight-legged deadlift. That's not what you need to do. You're going to have your feet close together, closer than hip width. We're going to hinge at the hip. So this is not a squat motion, it's a hip hinge. You can bend your knees slightly or keep your knees locked out. The main purpose of that is that you ensure you use the hamstrings and the glutes only, and not your quads. So I'm hinging my hip back. A lot of people get to a certain point and start rounding their back and letting their shoulders get loose. This is not what you want to do. You're putting too much pressure on your back and your spine, and those muscles are much, much smaller than your glutes and your hamstrings. You don't ever want to put a lot of load on your erector spinae and the small of your back. So what it would look like, you're going to keep your shoulders pulled back. The bar or the weight is going to be against your quads. Hinge the hip back, keeping the back flat, getting the weight just to about your knees if you can, or just below the knees if you can. You're going to squeeze the hamstrings and the glutes, keeping the back flat, hinge the hip up, and fully extend the hips, quads, and glutes. Okay, so once again, you're going to just hinge the hip back. And a lot of people with limited range of motion, this is as far as they could go. As long as you keep your back flat and your knees slightly bent, using the quads, and as long as you're using the glutes and the hamstrings to come back up.